Hey guys, Andrew McFarland here from StartAJuiceBar.com. Hope you're feeling amazing. Hope you're happy, healthy, inspired. Today we are talking about starting a juice bar inside of a gym. Before I dive into this conversation, I just wanted to say, if you like the videos and you've been appreciating the content that we've been putting out, you can press the like button. And if you guys are subscribed to the channel and you're not getting notifications, there's a notification bell up top. You can just press that and it will alert you anytime we put out new content. So moving right along and diving in. This conversation I'm going to have from two perspectives. Because you might be a gym or fitness studio owner and thinking about adding a juice bar to your business, or you might be someone who is looking to expand into other locations. Maybe you're someone who's been running your juice bar from home or a farmer's market or a food truck, or maybe you have a brick and mortar store and you're looking at actually partnering with other gym owners to open up smaller kiosk and retail spaces inside of these gyms. And so in this conversation, I'm going to share these two perspectives, and I'm also going to talk about the pros and cons of having this kind of business depending on where you're at. So diving in, let's first talk about if you are a gym owner or fitness studio owner. So this conversation really applies to anybody who has a yoga studio or a dance studio or Pilates studio. Let's put that all in the same category. We have had a number of clients who have done this, who have added juice bar / smoothie bars to their cycling and fitness studios, as well as yoga studios and otherwise. And so the first thing that I want to say is it's obvious that, or it should be obvious that, this is a great addition to your business if you have the space, because as soon as someone is finished working out, one of the first things that they think about is, how am I going to replenish my body? I've just exerted all this energy and I want to have some nutrients that I can fill myself with, whether that's a juice, a smoothie, or otherwise. And so when you have this as part of your business, it's going to increase your income because now you have another service and product that you can sell. But also overall, if you think about the value that it brings to your business, when somebody's choosing different fitness studios or gyms, yoga studios in their area, they might be more swayed to move into your business because of the fact that you actually have a juice bar attached. It's a great addition because it saves them from making another trip somewhere else, which is most likely what people do. Most individuals, after they leave the gym, are going to find some sustenance, some food, some drinks, and so on. And so having that as part of your business is really, really great. The other thing, too, that you just have to be aware of, and this is just something to think about, is whether you as a business owner want to build a partnership with someone else who can actually run that aspect of your business, or if this is something you want to manage in-house. And so what are the pros and cons? If you manage it in-house, obviously you can maintain the quality control. It's under your operations, and so you get to dictate the creativity and the brand of that juice bar inside of your business. That's great. One of the downsides is obviously now you have more responsibility. You have to run another aspect of your business that you may already have a lot going on, and so that might not be something that you're really so inspired to do. And so you have to just think about that as a whole. Now let's move over to having the conversation from the perspective of if you're an individual and you're looking to expand and to maybe build some partnerships with other fitness studio owners. What are the things that you want to think about? What are the things you want to avoid? And what are the overall benefits? Now the first thing is you want to really assess to make sure that that gym that you're walking into has enough of a client base that it is going to support your business. Now, speaking conservatively, if you have a gym and let's say they've got 200 or 300 customers walking in there a day, it is reasonable to assume that you could capture at least 40% of that audience. That's reasonable. You might even get to 60% or more, depending on how much demand there is for your product and how well you execute and so on, and how tailor-made your menu is for that clientele. But 40% might be a conservative estimate. And so in a situation where it's 100 customers a day, then you're looking at maybe 40 orders. If it's 200 customers a day, you're looking at 80 orders, and then 120 if it's 300 customers or more, because there are gyms that are larger that might have 1,000 people walk through there on any given day. And so you want to be aware of this and start doing the math and see, does it make sense for you to walk into that environment? The other benefit potentially in this situation is because a lot of gym owners find that it's such a benefit to their business, they might be willing to front a lot of the capital for the build out, maybe even the equipment. They might finance the whole thing if you're going to operate the business and take that burden from them in terms of operation. And so if you have enough conversations and you're able to position yourself in a way that that business owner has a lot of confidence in your ability to execute, they may be willing to pay for all of it, which is really, really great, because then you have nearly zero upfront costs. You might have some, maybe they force you to pay for the inventory, but you have to negotiate because there's going to be different circumstances that you can walk into. But overall, you might be surprised at how willing a gym owner is to support the development of that aspect of their business than you think. So consider that, walk into it. What are some of the downsides? Let's talk about some of the things that you really, really want to be cautious of when you walk into these circumstances and just consider. So the first thing is that you're going to normally, this isn't always the case, but generally, because you're inside of a gym, you're going to have limited space. You aren't oftentimes seeing juice bars that are the same size as most retail juice bars inside of a gym. Sometimes it happens, but most of the time it doesn't. You might end up in a situation where you've got 300 square feet or less to run your entire business. And that means you have to be very, very sensitive to how you develop your menu, how much inventory you have. You have to be very intentional about this process. Otherwise, you might end up in a situation where you run out of space or the environment gets really messy because of your lack of being able to keep things organized because you've overwhelmed the space with a menu that's too large. The other downside, potentially, is that you may only be exposed to the clientele at that gym. Now, granted, if that business has a lot of customers, then great, that's good for you. If they don't, then you want to be hesitant. You probably don't even want to enter that situation to begin with, because if you're limited to their customer base and they don't have a lot of customers, well, guess what? That means you're not going to make a lot of money and your juice business isn't going to be successful. The other aspect to this is that you may be very vulnerable to what that gym owner does. Meaning if something happens, let's say, hopefully this isn't the case, but if something happens and their memberships drop dramatically, there's another competitor that opens up nearby, or they do something and it gets the gym a lot of negative press, and their gym memberships drop in half, well, guess what? Now your business sales have also dropped in half. And so you are susceptible to that. So you want to make sure, the first thing is that in all situations, people are having different degrees of risk. Some people have more and less. And if in a situation where the gym owner is financing 100% of the build out, all of the equipment, and then you're just coming in as an operator, you've got less risk in that situation. But either way, no matter what, you want to make sure you have a clear conversation with that business owner to discuss what are the circumstances in which they might be able to cancel the agreement, what are the circumstances in which you might be able to cancel it, what are the out clauses looking like, and what are the agreements to make it worth your time, their time. They might just charge you a percentage of the income, they might charge you a base level of rent plus a percentage of the income, they might just charge you the rent. We don't know what that looks like. You might come in and finance the equipment, you might finance the equipment and the inventory, and they might take care of the build out, which is what I would recommend. That, and in a worst case scenario in terms of negotiating, ideally they pay for all of it, but you might not, that's a tough situation. So more likely than not, you might be able to convince someone that, hey, I'll pay for the equipment, I'll pay for the inventory, and you just take care of the build out, right? And all the other costs associated with that. They might be more inspired to do that because obviously if you lead the business and you would give them that opportunity to say, hey, look, if things aren't going well and you're getting bad reviews, let's give it a certain amount of time, 6 months to a year. And if that's not going well, then you can kick me out and I'll take my equipment with me, or you can buy the equipment off me for whatever the rate is that we decide. There's ways to negotiate it. But what I'll say is overall, this is a great situation. Juice bars and gyms go together like peanut butter and jelly, we can say, right? Because of the active market. It's just the target demographic, and whether you have a juice bar somewhere else, you're still going to want to partner with people and reach out to people who have fitness studios and gyms to expose your business to their customers. So why not consider just getting inside there? If you have the finances to do it, it's part of the expansion of your business, and you can start having conversations, great. One thing that I want to say that you definitely should avoid is do not end up in a situation where you're ending up, because Obviously, there's smaller sizes of fitness studios and gyms, and there's larger size gyms and fitness studios. And so you don't want to be walking into a situation where that gym or fitness studio is looking to revive their business through adding this extra service, because it may or may not work out, and we don't know. And so that's going to be a really, really big risk for you, and maybe not something that you want to take on. So hopefully there's the opportunity to partner with a larger, more successful gym that has some extra space and that's willing to put some money towards the build out, that you can finance the equipment and extra inventory and everything else, and just manage it. And then the last thing that I'll say is, if you can, see if you can maintain your own brand, because you want to create some disassociation. You don't want to come in, if you're a separate operator, under the brand of that business. You want to have your own brand inside of that as a partnership. So that way, if you expand, you can go into other gyms, you can open up a juice bar if you don't have one yet, and people are recognizing this brand. It gives you a little bit more freedom and control. So I hope this helps give you guys some insight. Overall, I think this is a great relationship. There's a lot of benefits to it, and then you want to make sure that you obviously reduce your downside as you walk into these circumstances. So if you guys need help with any of this, if this applies to you or anything outside of that, if you don't know, we've got a full spectrum consulting agency. We can help you with everything from your menu development to location layout to equipment list to marketing your business, so on and so forth, to training your staff. Just reach out to us. You can even find me personally at Andrew@StartAJuiceBar.com. We'd be happy to discuss how we can help you. As always, wishing you guys a lot of success. If you're not following us on Instagram, do that. If you are not subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to subscribe. And if you're not listening to our podcast, we've got the Juice Bar Experts podcast. We've got podcasts on our website in the footer, or you can go to iTunes and listen to the podcast as you're driving, running, or doing anything. So, as always, hope you guys are doing well, and we'll see you guys at the next video. Take care.